good afternoon, and hate to follow the boss, but hopefully he gave you kind of a little bit of a wrap up of what the Chamber does with our EDC. My name is Chester Jenke, and I'm new to the position, but not new to economic development or workforce. I came from the community college here in town, where we were tasked with putting people into jobs. Now I am trying to create those jobs and put those people into. So kind of a perfect transition for me. So some of the projects that we may have working at any given time is somewhere between the neighborhood of 3 active ones up to 20 total, with some of those being active, some of those being inactive. Juggling some of those in your mind in a different project names form that we may have, such as projects, which we all know now was Task Us, but coming up with project was one that was hard for me to keep track in my mind. Some of the other projects we're working on is a couple of them at the airport. We've always got something that we're looking for at the airport. We've got 2 projects in the 46 corridor, one at 1101, one in Creekside, and one that's currently going on at the Loop 337 at the HEB Center. So kind of a diverse area of lots of different projects. So some of the committees I'm involved with, there's so many committees that I associate with, is the New Braunfels Manufacturing Association, which represents all of our manufacturers in the New Braunfels area. Kind of a neat group, started several years ago by Mr. Tuttle from Great American Products, but their focus is really of taking care of what the manufacturers in our local area need, and not so much what the manufacturers in our region need. However, we're looking at reaching out to our San Antonio manufacturers because there's force in numbers when we look at some of the legislative changes that we need to do. So stay tuned for that one. One of the other ones is the Transportation Committee, and that one you have to stay tuned to because it's one of those evolving and ever-changing type committees. Right now we're working on what is going to be the best thing for the city of New Braunfels for our short-term and our long-term future. The conversation the other day was very, very interesting, where we talked about rail, we talked about Uber, we talked about the last mile, we talked about city busing, and all of that's on the table, but it's going to take lots of planning. The analogy that I used at the end of it, and everybody kind of shook their head, was how we all want to plant that tree and we want it to grow very, very fast. Well, we're in the early stages of planting that tree, so it's going to take some time before that tree is large enough for me to go climb. One of the other committees is the Business and Education Partnership Committee. That committee has been instrumental in creating lots of different quality of life items inside of our city. One of them is CTTC, one of them is our communities in school. The United Way used to fall underneath that committee, so lots of good things take place during that committee. One of our projects that we have right now is our Kits for Kids, where we put together kits for new parents to get them off to a good start with a library card, a couple of easy reader books, and then the last part that we give to them in that kit is a fast start for here's some of the services that are available in the community. The last committee that I have is a Natural Resources Committee. This one is extremely important. We look at water, we look at sewer, we look at electricity, what we have on the grid. There's lots of pieces of that committee, lots of pieces of infrastructure that committee takes a look at and picks apart. Are we ready for now? Are we ready for tomorrow? And are we ready for 10 years down the road? So let me go back a little bit and digress and talk a little bit about the City Chamber EDF partnership. So that's kind of how we come together. So the city is the one that has the incentives through our 4B Economic Development Board. The Chamber is kind of the marketing institute of that, or the one that goes out and finds these businesses to bring them to that. And then the EDF is the partnership that solidifies all of those, putting them together and coming up with a long-range plan of sustainability for those new businesses that are coming to town. So if you're ever interested in any of those committees, or if you're interested in finding out how the city or how an economic development prospect gets from point A to point B, come on in, I'll buy you a cup of coffee, and we'll talk about it for a long period of time.